working. Hooray! Okay, so this is 20 books. 20 books. They're not about teaching, but have informed the way that I teach. Okay, so they're from multiple different disciplines and all sorts of things going on. But there's a game in the presentation called, as you know, this game, it's called Cow or Sheep. All right? And during the presentation, from now, you're going to see multiple cow and sheep. All right? At the end of the presentation, I want you to tell me whether you've seen more cow or sheep during this presentation. All right? So at the moment, there's 2 cows and 1 sheep. But as the moment the next slide starts, we're starting at 0 again. All right? So here we go. 20 books for 2014. You can start the timer now, Colin. Here we go. Let's go. All right. So this first book is very much what Mark is talking about. This is Reality is Broken. It's a book all about like how you can use games in your own life to improve your own life. And it's all about why people spend so much time on games achieving almost nothing, hours on end, but they won't spend any time on their own life. It's an amazing book. Read it. Second book, Quiet. This is all about, well, obviously I'm an extrovert. This is all about introverts and why introverts matter and what introvert can bring to a situation. We should value introverts more, especially in ESL classroom where we always feel that extroverts are what we desire because they talk more. No, introverts have their own magic too. This is one suggested by Ross Bunce. It's The Little Prince. Anyone familiar with this book? Yeah, absolutely. I think the lesson we can draw from this one is all about like imagining your future self. And we talk about this in ESL all the time, like imagining your future self and what you will become. And this book is all about like a little prince not understanding what it means to be an adult. Fantastic. A whack around the side of the head. This is a book on creativity. The basic premise of the book is that we all get into creative ruts. We fall into patterns that we can't get out of. We do the same activities, the same lessons again and again because we're comfortable. This book is supposed to help you to get yourself out of ruts and try new things. It's a very, very good book. Can't recommend it more enough. This is the book that Zach was talking about. This is You Are Not So Smart. As a teacher, we all feel like when we're faced in a classroom that maybe we are the smartest person in the room. We're probably not. Lots of people are smarter than us, and we should be aware of that at all times. We are not as smart as we think we are. Next book is Stuart Lee, How I Escaped My Certain Fate. He's probably one of the best stand-up comedians working in the world today. And he talks about like how you control an audience, how you control a crowd, how you manage people, and how you make sure everyone's engaged with you at all times. And we can take lessons from this as a teacher because we have people sleeping, like bringing the room on your side. He's a master of it. Blah, blah, blah. Fantastic book. It's all about how we shouldn't speak as much as we should show. We all know show, don't tell usually works. It's much more effective for the communication. Picture speaks 1,000 words, all of that. This book is all about when pictures will serve better than words. It's a really, really, really good book. Going on, A Theory of Fun. Getting back to actually Marcus again. This is a fantastic book about what makes things fun. It's about the balance between pushing our limits and not being too difficult. We always want to be on the edge of that. It's very difficult to find that flow, is what they talk about. An amazing book. It's all illustrated, so it comes into blah, blah, blah. It's fantastic. The Complete Vocal Technique, suggested by a friend of mine, John Bear, he said that this book is fantastic, and I've read some of them, watched some YouTube clips online. This is a great book for training your voice. We spend a lot of time talking and projecting ourselves and how to train yourself and to speak with authority or sometimes compassion, how to do that. This is a book recommended by my friend Fernanda Perez. It's a series of unfortunate events. Maybe you remember the Jim Carrey movie. This is an interesting choice because she said this book is all about moral ambiguity. That's the message at the beginning of the book. And it's meant for children, little children. It deals with tough moral messages. And it's all about, she says, don't treat children like idiots. They can deal with, oh, for fuck's sake, get out of the way. And nudge. This is all about, we don't need to push people to do things. We can just give them a tiny nudge in the right direction. People want to do the right thing, but you have to make it easy for them to do the right thing. And this gives a lot of like hints and tips on how to achieve that. Leaders eat last. You ever had a class not come together? It might be because you are not in the role of leader. This is a business book that teaches you how to bring a team together to get a team facing the same direction as you. And in a way, students have the same problem. You get a class where you got like badges, blah, blah, blah. This is called The Mirror. This is suggested by a friend of mine, Kevin Alicia and Brian Oakes. And this is all about a book about empathy. It shows the parallel lives between an American and a Middle Eastern boy, and it shows how their lives are incredibly similar, despite the fact they live in very different worlds. and it's an amazing book. Definitely read it. Stumbling on Happiness is very much related to The Little Prince. It's all about looking at your future self and trying to decide what you will be in 10, 20 years. We're very bad at deciding how happy we will be in the future, and this book is about trying to make sure that you're happy and trying to make sure you achieve your goals in the future. China Pavel wrote a brilliant science fiction novel called Embassy Town, which is about two sets of people, aliens and humans, who have no physical or mental way of communicating with each other, but somehow manage to live side by side. And it's all about what truth is, and like what is spoken truth. Can we really believe what we're saying all the time? This is just by my boss Hudson Morell. This is the Parkour and Free Running Handbook. The reason he suggested this book is because he said much like the physical nature of parkour is the hardest workout you can give your body, just like learning a foreign language is the hardest workout you can give your mind. But you've got to train your body holistically, and we all know that in ESL as well, we need to train our body holistically. Oh, bloody cows. Anyway, the Talent Code by David Coyle it's a book about how world-class talent is developed. It's about recognizing what people's talents are and breaking down building talent into small, manageable goals. Not like a large goal, breaking it down into smaller and smaller chunks. We talk about this in ESL all the time. Great. Blank slate. Maybe a lot of you have read this book. Pinker argues that human nature, suggested by David Cameron, we can motivate, human nature is born, but we can motivate people to be better than what they're born with if we create the right environments. Phew, last one. The rule book of arguments. I think as academic writers, we're all guilty of logical fallacies and making mistakes in our thinking. This book is I don't want to say the Bible, it's the best book there is on how to construct a coherent argument, step by step, avoiding all the pitfalls of logical fallacies. And the 20th book, Cop Out, couldn't think of one. So that's your book. You can talk about it with a partner, whatever. Thank you very much. Woo! And there we go. But just wait a second now. I've got a little handout for everybody. You've got all the books.
No.
Oh, wait a second. You thought you were there.
No.
But, all right. Before we go to the next slide, and before I hand these out, cow or sheep, people?
Cow?
Sheep.
Sheep. Sheep. Okay, let's do the show of hands for cow. Okay.
I lost you.
Anyone want to give me a number?
13.
13. 13. Okay, 15. All right. Sheep. We've got sheeps over here.
I'll take sheeps.
All right. Let's have a little look. And cows are the winner with 12. Congratulations, the cows. I've got Kit Kats for you. So the book Reality is Broken has this really, really good story in it. It's all about this woman who was a cashier for a good 20 years. Did it because she had to. She didn't want to be a cashier for 20 years, like not many people do. And they talked to her, and they found out what she really, really liked to do was talk to people. And so this consultant, this person who wrote this book, Reality is Broken, went in to speak to this woman, and she said to the woman, "What do you really enjoy? I really enjoy talking to people." And he said, "Well, okay, your job from now on is not being a cashier. Your job is to talk to the customers. And for every single customer you have a meaningful and interesting conversation with, consider that like an achievement for your day." And she came back to me in a year and said, "You're still a cashier, but how happy are you in your job?" So I'm much happier in my job. I've turned my job into this game where I want to go into work because I want to speak to my customers. I want to have meaningful conversations with all of the people I serve. And I think that's an interesting thing about just even in any kind of thing you don't have to do things you don't like every day, but if you just suck it up and find something that you actually like about it, look for the positive. That's a cliche, finding the silver lining, but that book, Reality is Broken, is all about that. It's all about just finding a way to make your daily life more interesting. And so I think that's a message that when I read that, I've always I see my job not as standing and teaching grammar points, but making meaningful connections with individual students is where it's at. That gives me joy. Beautiful. Thank you.